Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman,
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
and together we can make a difference.
This is the second take of the Trooper Talk, live at 360.Vegas Studios because Johnny's computer had a glitch. Live here with Trooper Wellman with another edition of Trooper Talk. Is that good, Johnny? Yeah. Perfect. Trooper Wellman. So we're now in the last part of the maybe summer season, right? I saw today that they're starting to bring the the college graduates into the classrooms and into the dorms, right? So today is move-in day, right, for like UNLV and stuff like that. And so people are coming from out of state, bringing their cars. You know, they're going to start traveling on our highways, right? What is the speed limit generally in Nevada, unless you're in the rural cities?
If you're not in the rural area, within our city limits, our highways are usually 65 miles per hour.
And so we do have legalized marijuana. We do have legalized alcohol.
Yes.
We do have legalized prescription pills for that person. But you can still get in trouble because you can be impaired by doing those things, and you're going to end up in a trip going to jail.
Absolutely. You need to make sure you're of age, first off. You have to be 21 years of age if you're going to be consuming marijuana or alcohol. You need to make sure you're doing it responsibly. And if you are prescribed any medication from your doctor, make sure that you are taking the prescribed dosage. And if you don't feel right, do not get behind the wheel. Call your doctor, make sure, because you don't know how your body's going to react, especially if it's a new prescription. And if you're doing multiple prescriptions that were prescribed to you, sometimes, you know, everybody's body is different, and you might be having a different effect on you. So please don't get behind the wheel and put yourself in that position or put anyone else in danger for that matter. Just please be responsible and plan ahead if you do, you know, if you are going to have, you know, drink and smoke marijuana or consume edibles or anything like that. Just be responsible about it.
And here in Las Vegas, we're very fortunate for many things, but we have a great bus system, taxi system, Lyft, Uber, you know, all these different variety of things that there's no reason to get behind the wheel if you're impaired.
Absolutely. There is zero reason that you should ever be driving impaired. We have way too many resources out there to prevent any fatalities from happening, to prevent any crashes from happening, or anyone getting injured. And those resources are out there for that purpose, to provide convenience for you to go out, have a good time, but to do it responsibly. So just please plan ahead. Don't put yourself in that situation. If you're going to drive, like, I'll give you an example. I went out last weekend with some friends. The plan was not to, you know, maybe drink that much. And my friend drank too much, and we all just said, hey, we're going to take an Uber home. We'll come get your car in the morning. It was that simple. We split it 4 ways. Like, it was very, very simple and convenient. And I haven't used an Uber for a while here in town, and I was just so grateful that we have that option, and we could all get home safely, and we didn't have to go get a hotel room if we didn't want to, because we had that resource. So please just plan ahead, and if something does arise, just make sure that, you know, you are familiar on how to use our public transportation, or a taxi, or Uber, or Lyft, or, again, we have many, many hotels, motels here in town. Just use them.
Yeah, and a lot of people now, they're going to come here and maybe use the other resources of maybe go hiking and, you know, drive the Red Rock Loop and all these type of things. You know, let's talk a little bit about road rage. Okay, so, you know, you're enjoying a nice peaceful day. You're going to go take a nice hike, and, you know, somebody's driving fast behind you and wants to get in front of you. You know, when it comes to road rage, the best thing to do is just avoid the situation. Get off the highway, get off the road, pull over. Just let that person just go, right?
Absolutely. Just totally get yourself out of that situation. If you need to report an emergency, or you feel like your life is in danger because of this vehicle, or they're traveling in a reckless manner and you're worried for their safety or everyone else around them, please, you're exempt from the cell phone law. Call Star NHP 911 311 and report that vehicle. Let us know about it, because we can't be everywhere at all times, so we rely on our public as well to tell us, like, if you see something, say something. So please call us, let us know what's happening, get away from that situation. And there are times that you are trying to get out of that situation, and maybe, especially like an example of the Red Rock Loop, there's nowhere you can turn off. You'd have to either turn around or continue on around the loop. And if you can't get away from a vehicle because they are acting erratic and they're, stopping, going, catching up to you, this, that, please, again, call us. Call 911. We will be on our way to separate that vehicle from you and and find out exactly what's happening and why are they acting in the manner that they are.
And I saw in the newspaper the other day, I think it was in Henderson, a motorcycle fatality because the motorcycle was splitting lanes, right? And so splitting lanes is illegal, right? If you're driving a motorcycle, and we have to be very careful as the motoring public of the motorcycles, but they also have to be courteous of the regular people that are not driving motorcycles to not be doing those type of reckless activities, right?
Absolutely. A motorcycle, that's already hard enough to see a motorcycle on our roadways, and if you now add speed or unsafe lane changes and moving in quick manners, you're just adding that many more obstacles in your way of possibly, causing a crash or getting yourself hurt or anyone else. And just the other day on 95 southbound at Rancho, we just had a crash where the entire 95 was shut down for hours. And now if you think about the 95, that is a major area, an access point that people use to commute back and forth to work, home, to the Strip, all around. The 95 South at Rancho is a huge, congested area, or I should say populated area. And we had a motorcycle that was traveling in a reckless manner at a high rate of speed. Our trooper activated their lights and siren, and they were in the far left lane. Motorcycle began to take off, did not yield to the emergency vehicle, cut all the travel lanes into the far right lane. Because of his reckless driving characteristics, he actually rear-ended a vehicle, causing him to get ejected from the motorcycle. That could have been that fast a fatality, and he could have lost his life. Luckily, he did not. The driver of the Buick that he hit only sustained minor injuries. She was okay. Very shaken up, though, of course. And when he was ejected, he had some very serious injuries to his lower extremity. He may never walk again. Who knows? Because he didn't want to yield to an emergency vehicle, and two, he was traveling in a reckless manner. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And the choice that he made that day to take off or to continue to travel at a high rate of speed and make those unsafe lane changes put clearly himself at danger and everyone around him, because everybody else is slamming on their brakes, looking around, they're getting startled. It could have caused many, many more crashes. But the moral of the story is that once, when we have a crash with such severe injuries that it could have been possibly a fatality, we have to diagram that, and we have to do our due diligence on our agency and on our part. So that takes time and resources that get called out there. We have to photograph it, everything. We have to diagram the entire scene on that freeway, and that's why the 95 was shut down for multiple hours, and it caused all that inconvenience to everyone, all because of the actions of one.
All because of the action of one. And, we talk all the time about when someone loses their life that someone is not going to come home for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, and that's something we've never really touched on, but it's very important. This person may never walk again who had two working legs because of something like that. Like when we talk about the badge, there's a certain population that look at that badge and go, I'm scared of it because that's what I've always been taught.
Yes.
And there's a certain amount of the population that look at that badge and go, I'm not scared of it, but I just don't know what to do. And so we have to get through to all of these type of people, and so that they know and what that badge actually symbolizes, right?
Absolutely. And I think every officer has a different meaning why we wear our badge, and ultimately mine is I wear it as a symbol of trust. I don't want people to portray this as a symbol of fear. It's a symbol of trust, that if you need help, I'm coming, you can trust me. And I know that that's something that takes time and interactions to build with people, but I'm willing to put in the time. And I do many different things around our communities to build these relationships with others. And I every day I put this uniform on, I make sure that I not only uphold the law, but I hold myself to a higher standard, because I want people to be able to trust me, and I want them to know that I wear this badge for good intentions and only to help others.
So I have something to talk about now with suicide. Okay. Johnny, keep track of this time. And so Nick Feccio, who was on the board of the IPOF, unfortunately, his niece took her life, and she worked for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And so I want to talk a little bit about suicide, but here's what I want to talk about. Customer comes in the store on Saturday and says, I want to sell all of my silver because I'm killing myself and I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And so I went and grabbed my cell phone, took my cell phone out and showed him a picture of his niece and said, listen, this is what happened. And so I said, I'm not letting you leave my store until you either call 988 or I'm calling the police so that you can talk to someone. I mean, the guy could leave. He could do whatever he wanted.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right, but you wanted him to know you cared.
And so right then and there, he picked up the phone and he goes, so what do I do? And I said, you call 988. And so he called 988. He was in booth 1. You know, he had to press a few different buttons, you know, click this, touch this, you know, whatever. And boom, somebody gets on the phone. And so he starts talking, and I said, okay, why don't you go to booth number 5 so you have a little bit of privacy. And so he talked to someone. I mean, I don't know what the conversation was or whatever, you know. I mean, he was going through a lot of different things. But the point is that in a traffic fatality or something like this, it may be the actions or the choice of someone else or yourself, you know, but when it comes to the suicide, you can always talk to someone. And my close friend killed himself because of those pills. And so that suicide is really, really important. And I know a lot of officers and troopers, you know, have done the not even the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate taking of the life.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that, and I want to do a new segment on the Trooper Talk where we're always talking about this so that people know that they can dial that phone number and that there's somebody there to talk to.
Absolutely. I think it's almost even hard to talk about. I think a majority of us have been affected personally by a loved one that's maybe committed suicide, or a friend, someone close. And it's real, right? It's out there. It happens, unfortunately, too often. And I think one of the hardest parts is, like, if I just would have known they were hurting, I could have called them, I could have helped them, I could have, just like that guy, he actually said something to you, so you stepped in. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the individuals that end up doing this, they didn't say anything. And so we didn't know, right? We didn't see the signs. And we do that woulda, coulda, shoulda a lot. Like, I wish I could have helped. I wish I would have known. I would have done anything I could have, right? And the Metro officer you're talking about, like, I don't know if you follow Vital Shots on Instagram or Facebook, but she's amazing. Her name's Sammy. She does a lot of our photography here in town. Her mission is to really highlight first responders and what we do, from fire to EMS to law enforcement. And Sammy really is good at capturing our emotions at the best and at the worst times. And she does a lot of our funerals here in town. And actually, the officer you're talking about, her brother is a firefighter here in town, and he asked Vital Shots to go and photograph the funeral. And I was looking at some of the photos, and her father there's a photo where he's just holding on to the flag, and he just, I guess at the funeral, he just said he wanted more time with his daughter. He wasn't ready to say goodbye. And it's the ripple effect of suicide, that's the after, affecting everyone after, right? Like, we know they're not in pain anymore, but now we all are in pain. And it's just so sad. But I completely agree with you. Especially in our profession, we need to look out for each other. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but, like, you know, sometimes it's portrayed as a female can talk about our feelings more than a man, right? Or more than a male.
Of course.
If a male sometimes talks about his feelings, he's portrayed as weak. Or if he cries, he's weak. Or, especially in this profession, it's that's just old school mentality, and it's not like that anymore. And the reality is we have to talk. We see so many bad things. We have to talk to each other. You know, or Sergeant Smack and I, we've been very open from day one on this show about how him and I are huge. We vent to each other on a regular basis because when we're hurting, we talk to each other. We know it's a safe zone. He knows I would never judge him. I'm here to help him, and vice versa. He's never going to look differently at me if I tell him, like, I was scared on that call, or I didn't know what to do, or you have to have people that you reach out to and you talk to. Otherwise, it's going to build up, and ultimately, I mean, it could result in you possibly wanting to take your life. And, like, that's just not okay. We have to be there for each other. And like you said, 988, there's resources out there for that reason. These people have been in your shoes that are on the other end of that phone, and that's why they want to help you. They want to get you through it. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so tragic, and it's just.
It's very sad.
It's sad.
And the thing is that we do want to reach out. We do want to help. And so a lot of people, you don't know, and they don't ask for help. And so, you just try to do the best you can. And so, but for people that do reach out, they're not playing around. Some people, maybe they are, or whatever, they do
Correct.
it for some reasons. But, we have to take that stuff seriously. And so, it's very important that part of what I want to do with us and moving forward is to know that that's part of our little segment, of just talking about the 988, and making sure that people know that there's a person to call, and if you're ready to take your life and before you do it, just make a phone call a friend, call somebody and say, my friend, he came and he needed $1,500. And so all I keep remembering, and that's the sorrow, is that he came to me and said, I need $1,500. And I knew what he was going to do with that $1,500.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm not giving it to you because I know what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be that tough love. And I said, I can't do it.
Can't enable it.
And 30 days later, he's dead. And so for what? Because I didn't give him the $1,500? Maybe he needed the $1,500 to pay the cell phone bill, like all those things I found out, he didn't have money for bills, and so but it doesn't matter.
Right.
And so the guilt that we live with because we didn't do is even worse than seeing the shoe. And so anyway, we can continue to talk about this, but it's very important. And so, everybody loves all the troopers. Everybody loves all the first responders. And so, with what you go through, we have to just be there for each other.
Yeah,
You know what
absolutely.
I mean? And so
it's everybody's responsibility to look out for each other. And if you can tell somebody's hurting or in trauma right now, you got to step up. You got to reach out. And even if you're not the right person to talk to, you need to reach out to somebody else to reach out to them. Whether that be a family member, a loved one, or 988, there has to be solutions to this. It just sucks. We just had a guy yesterday that was at 95 in Galleria on the overpass, and he had climbed all the way out to the middle. And family showed up on scene, and we had troopers, and we had Henderson Police Department there with us, and everybody talked him to eventually walk off the bridge and come talk and get help and stuff. But why did it get to that point where he had to climb out onto a bridge to get help?
Yeah.
Where's the breakdown? Why did he feel like he needed to get that attention to get help? Was he asking anybody for help, or did he need to be reassured that people do care and love him and want to help him? I don't know. I can't answer those questions. All I know is that as I respond to these calls, I just do my best every time to talk these people down. And, you remember Trooper Brems came on here and she talked about the girl she talked down off of the South Point. To this day, that girl ended up coming down and lived, but it still affects her in a traumatic manner because Trooper Brems had never experienced that before, and she just put herself in her shoes and kept thinking, what if she would have jumped, and what if I didn't get her to come down? And it really messed her up. As you saw, she cried on your show talking about it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was affecting her like that because we all were praising her, giving her awards. Way to go, you did a great job. But actually, she was battling it deep down inside because it scared her and it upset her. So even though it has a happy outcome, it still affects us. And that's why us as law enforcement, first responders, all of us, when we go through these traumatic events, we have to take care of ourselves and we have to talk to people as well. And like, I've lost partners to suicide, not even a year ago, and I didn't know she was hurting, right? Like, I mean, I did, but I didn't. And it's like, I wish I could have helped. And just the Metro girl the other day, like, I have so many friends. I didn't know her personally, but I have so many friends that are just devastated by her passing. And from the outside, it looked like she had everything.
Yeah.
But you just never know. So it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. That's, I mean, that's why we, have to continuously talk and do these type of things.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and going back to the whole, like, you're not going to be looked down upon. You're not.
Yeah.
We always have this saying at work, like, it's okay to not be okay. Like, say something. Like, help is out there. People want to help you. And we got to get out of that stigma and that stereotype of, like, it's weak to say you need help or that you're not okay. And, like, Route 91, Trooper Sergeant Smacka, that messed him up to this day. He cries when he talks about it, but that's okay. He needs to talk about it. It's because that's part of who he is now. That changed him forever. But it's a trauma he has to live with every day. It's just
and that's something that we saw here with Lieutenant White. When he talked, I won't mention his name, but at the ceremony, I talked to the trooper that was involved with Micah May.
Yes.
And I had a very nice conversation with him, just a personal conversation, and it was very, very nice. I invited him, of course, on Trooper Talk, but he's not ready to talk. And so that's okay. You know what I mean? But like, we want to tell him, that the resource is out there. And so, whether he wants to come here and talk on camera or wants to talk to somebody else, like, it's just important that they know. And so,
absolutely.
All right, Johnny, I'm sorry. I haven't seen Trooper Wellman in a long time, Johnny. You know what I'm saying? So many things to talk about, right? I keep talking. All right. Press escape to... All right. So, speaking of Micah May, a fantastic trooper. Just woke up in the morning, had breakfast... whatever he ate, you know what I'm saying? Like, said goodbye maybe to his wife, his children, said, I'll see you later. I had lunch, you know what I'm saying? And these type of things.
Yeah.
And was called, right?
Yeah, Trooper May was actually on the phone with his wife, Joanna, when the pursuit was happening that day. And he was like, hey, I'm going to go help out in this pursuit, and then I'll be home to have lunch with you guys, because she was at the store getting stuff for lunch. And she was like, oh, what are you going to? And they had a full conversation on his way to the whole call, and then he never called her back. And it's just like those moments, it's just so...
So he hangs up with Joanna.
I never told you that?
No.
Yeah.
So he hangs up and says, I love you, I'll talk to you later, I'll see the kids, right?
Yeah, he was going to go home for lunch, and then he was like, you know what, this has been going on for a long time, let me head over that way, because he was kind of far from it. And then he was like, I'll go handle this, and then I'll come home and have lunch with you guys. So he actually did say I love you to them one last time.
Yeah. And Joanna, we met at the car show, with the little kids, and they're so fantastic, and they're just so polite, and when we saw him at the ceremony, right? With the little tie, just
Raylan.
Yeah, he had to have the tie perfect. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and so, he gave his life. And there's been tremendous videos out there to show exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
Yeah. And we're not perfect, right? Like, we all make errors every day, and we just hope that it doesn't cost us our life. Ultimately, his intentions were to stop that car, and that's why, when he threw those stop sticks out, he was just trying to stop the car and help others, and it's unfortunate. But what this is, it was his 1 year anniversary, and we knew our agency wanted to do something big in his memory.
Yes.
And the person that actually struck Micah May was impaired at the time, and so he's an impaired driver. And we wanted to make sure that we honored him, and moving forward, we honor him every year, and that his memory stays alive. And so what we did was we joined forces with all the southern agencies in town, in Nevada, well, in Las Vegas, I should say. And this was actually a statewide event. Mm-hmm. So all of our troopers, from our northern command to our east, so like everyone from Elko to Wells to Reno to Carson to you name it, Tonopah. We had troopers that worked this event that day in his memory, and everybody's intent had one unified mission, and that was to go out there and save lives by getting impaired drivers off the roadway. And through the actions of all the agencies, and especially, that's what's really cool about Nevada State Police, is we are statewide. So I can call up, Reno and be like, the Reno troopers, hey, do you guys want to do this with us? And it's like, we are one agency, but we are the entire state. And so it's very, very powerful. And yeah, through the actions, our agency worked the entire weekend, and then the other agencies just worked the one night. And we're so grateful for them for even doing that for us. And through the actions of everyone, we had over 288 traffic stops, and we had 33 DUI arrests, so impaired drivers taken off the roadway. So we saved, at least we can say we saved at least 33 lives. And these are like approximate numbers. There could have been more, but as of right now, we knew when we posted this that we had 33 DUI arrests. So 33 people off the roadways that could have killed people. And it was just something to feel proud about, and in his memory. And I actually came up with the campaign slogan, and it was, May you choose not to drive impaired. And it was like for the weekend event. And it was just, it's just something that we're going to continue and to make bigger and better every year. Not only just in honor of Micah May, but just for our state alone. We want to save lives. We want to make sure everybody gets home safe. And it was just really, really powerful to be a part of. And then just to jump just a little bit more into this, I don't even know what the word is except powerful.
Yeah.
But you were there for the kickoff when we had everybody show up for the group photo. And Joanna May was there, his wife. She was so moved by everybody's efforts that what they're going to go out there and do, that actually one of our captains that trained Trooper Micah May in field sobriety testing, which is the test that we administer on an impaired driver to determine if they're impaired, he was one of Micah May's trainers in his academy. And so he was going to go out that night and work the road as a captain.
Yes.
And Joanna May asked if she could ride with him. So she went home, got a babysitter for the kids, and actually the captain picked her up, and her and the captain worked the entire night and got impaired drivers off the roadway. She stopped out with multiple troopers, took pictures with them. Every time somebody got a DUI, they took a picture with the preliminary breath test. And the widow of a trooper that was taken by an impaired driver was out there doing her part as well for our community, because she was just so moved by everybody. And it was just so amazing to see and be a part of. And it was so bittersweet, right? Of course, it's tragic. But like, wow, way to turn a negative into a positive and find the beauty in the tragedy. And so super, super powerful.
Yeah. And it's funny because you read my mind, because here's what I was going to tell you. At the time before this ceremony, the last time we were there, when we did the ceremony before, the captain had his sidearm, right? Because when you guys are in your uniforms, you carry your sidearm, right? And so he was wearing his sidearm. Not this time he was as well, but the difference was this time he had his taser,
had all his gear
on his thing, right? Like during the ceremony. And so like you knew he was going and preparing for battle. And so I remember specifically him saying before he walked out the door, I'm going to be there with you tonight. Like, I'm the captain, and normally I'm not with you, but let me tell you, I'm going out tonight.
He did, yeah.
Because it's that important. And so, it comes down to, I've always said that, for the state police, we've had the pleasure of going through a number of these ceremonies and things like this. And it all comes down to the mentorship, and it all comes down from the captains and the majors, and everybody cares.
Lead from the top, right?
And so you can feel that, and you know that. And so, you know that it's being passed down the right way. So knowing that, Joanna went out with them, I mean, it's so important. Go out for the memory. We never want Trooper May, his memory, to go away. And so the minute that goes away, we're not thinking about it. And that's why these events and things like this are so important, because we're always bringing the name to the forefront.
Yeah.
And we want to bring it to the forefront forever so that nobody has to be in that situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just can't thank our surroundings.
And all the agencies, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of it, because, through the efforts of everyone, we were able to get 33 impaired drivers off the roadway.
It's awesome. It's just awesome. And they were all there, and all the different agencies were there, and they were all excited to take the picture, and they were all around. I mean, it was awesome. Johnny, you put some pictures in there for this stuff. Right here.
Yep.
See, Johnny, you
There it
already read
is.
my mind. See?
Yep.
But the thing was that this event was really wonderful because they were all there.
So on this post, this is what I wanted to highlight was here's our Las Vegas, our Southern Division. Here's our Reno and Carson, so our Northern troopers. And then here was some of our Elko,
Okay.
our other division up there, or our other, oh my goodness, our East. It's our East Command.
East Command.
I couldn't
right,
think of what
okay.
to say.
Right.
Yeah, so, and more troopers partaked in it, but I wanted to get a photo op of everyone that was getting ready to go. So everybody in the Reno one, actually all the 4 gentlemen on the left,
Yeah.
they're actually all DREs, which is drug recognition experts. And so they all signed up, went out there, and put their certifications to use. So, it was just really, really powerful to see everybody come together and make a difference.
I think it's really wonderful, and we got to keep getting these people off the road. And that was the one thing we didn't talk about in the beginning that I was going to tell everybody about, is that I don't know if it's the state of Nevada, but I know down here in Las Vegas, if you're going the wrong way to get on the freeway, they have a huge, obnoxious red sign that says wrong way.
Yes. And even if you can't read or can't read English, it's red and it's very, like you said, in your face, like, that doesn't seem right.
Right.
It's there to alert you to stop. Red means stop, right?
Red means stop.
Our
it's
stop signs are
reflective.
red, it's reflective, everything.
Right. So, when we see that stuff, no wrong way driving. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And so this is fantastic. And so we're glad. And again, she it's not easy for her.
Right.
But the thing is that she's really doing fantastic. She comes out to the events, Joanna.
She does.
She shows the support for her husband. She brings the kids there. You know what I mean?
I mean, think of how many events we've done.
Right.
And we've gone to D.C., everything. It's been nonstop for a year. And like you said, she goes to everything. Like, she's never even had time to let this wound heal. Like, this is a weird analogy, but we think of it as like a scab. Like, when you get a wound, then it starts to form a scab and it starts to heal, and then eventually it heals. And all we keep doing is picking at it. And like, hey, we're going to do this event. Hey, we're going to do this event. Hey, we're going to do this event. And I almost feel very, very sad for her because we won't let her heal to an extent. But then when I had these conversations with her, she reminded me that actually coming together, being around us is actually helping her heal. Seeing constantly the love and support that everyone has for her husband and continues to show and have helps her heal and gives her strength, because when we are quiet and we're not around, that's when she starts to process, and when it's quiet, that's when it sets in. And so that's why I just always bombard her with stuff, because she said it helps her. So I think everyone's different, and at least with her, she's told us that this is what helps her.
Yeah, 100%. And she shared stories, with the kids, with the pictures and the house, and you know what I mean. And so we always want to do things to make sure that the kids are great, and I know you do. You know what I'm saying? You're always there. You know what I'm saying? And
I try.
And so it's fantastic. You know what I mean? And so it's great that you stepped in, and I know she appreciates it, and everybody appreciates it. We wish it didn't have to happen, but since it did, then
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
Right there. Okay. Now, he said to me that he would come on Trooper Talk.
Okay.
Okay? So
Captain Bowers.
Yes, he was very excited. And so we will have to get him on the Trooper Talk. But there he is. So there he's wearing the taser, right? So normally he would just wear the sidearm.
There you go, yeah.
Right? And so he was like, I'm ready for battle.
I'm working tonight.
I'm working tonight, and so go ahead.
So there was 3 photos I posted on this. Maybe they'll be on the next slide. If not, I just wanted to tell you a little story.
Yeah, tell me.
The significance and the reason I posted this was because Captain Bowers taught Micah May in his academy impaired driving, right? SFS, field sobriety testing. So that was special about that photo that they rode together.
Yeah.
Sergeant Adam Whitmarsh, who you know,
Yes.
his father, and not to put his business out there, but his actual father was killed by an impaired driver when he was young. And that's why Adam actually, I think, still holds to this day the record for the most impaired drivers arresting the most impaired drivers in Las Vegas in 1 year. He has so many awards for impaired drivers, getting them off the roadway because he's passionate about it, because it affected him personally. He lost his father to an impaired driver. So for him and Joanna to share in that moment where, you know, she lost her husband to an impaired driver, he lost his father, and you can you can't read it in this photo, but on social media you could see the PBT's head, and the amount of that person was under. And then there was a third photo, and it's actually Trooper Otero, and Trooper Otero and his wife were actually in a car accident, and she was killed in this car accident, and it was very, very traumatic, very, very tragic. Our troopers actually handled that car accident, or car crash, excuse me, and it really rocked our agency because he almost lost his life in it as well. And it was just a freak thing that happened. His friend, they did everything right. His friend was not impaired driving, and he had a seizure. It was a medical episode while he was driving, and he caused the car to crash, and it resulted in him losing his wife, and they have 2 young little boys. And so the reason I posted the photo of her and Trooper Otero was because her and Trooper Otero share the new challenges of being a single parent and losing a loved one in a crash, or just losing a loved one in a traumatic incident. And so her and Trooper Otero are now both single parents of 2 young, you know, he has 2 young boys, she has a young boy and a young daughter. And so I just felt like the significance to those 3 photos were so powerful and related to, all had an impact on her story. So that's why I posted. And she took many photos with other troopers out there making a difference, but those 3, I just felt like, I don't know if the word is special, but had a special meaning behind it. So I just wanted you to know what they were.
And this type of stuff is very important, and that's why we post the pictures, because the difference is that, you know, when it comes to you coming onto the Trooper Talk, these are the stories that no one knows.
Yeah.
And so that's why you watch the Trooper Talk, is because, you know, you want to know that.
Being able to explain it is completely different from you just writing what I wrote.
Right.
And you know, and like a lot of people aren't going to read this whole paragraph on there. And so now that I got to verbally explain to you what those are, it's that much more powerful, and it has that much more significance to the impact that we had that night being out there on the roadways.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And, you know, and we want everyone to know that, you know, you're out there. You know what I'm saying? And so I talked to Sergeant Whitmarsh about, you know, doing the DUI little truck, you know, and all that stuff. And so, you know, he's very passionate about it every time we talk and all that type of stuff. So it's great to see him, and, you know, to go out there and do what they're doing, because they want to do it.
Just like you said, they're our command. He's a captain. He's out there making a difference. They're leaving jail actually in this photo because they got an impaired driver off the road. Then Sergeant Whitmarsh is a sergeant overseeing troopers, and he's out there getting an impaired driver off the road. Like, everybody, it all matters, and so we all play a part, right?
Right, 100%. And so congratulations to everybody, and, you know, great job. And again, you know, I think that with the positivity that she provides by showing this is really great too. You know what I mean? Like, because you know, there's so much not negativity, but so much hurt in so many ways, that sometimes you need that fresh, like, oh, look how great this is, and a fresh smile and stuff like that.
Every single trooper that hit that road that night, they were motivated already in honor of Trooper May, but knowing that his wife, his widow, is on the road with them, that just like lit a fire under them, and everybody was just like, let's get these drivers off the road, right? Like, you know, sometimes on graveyard you're dragging because you're tired, and it was like everybody was like, go, 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 traffic stop, traffic stop, traffic stop, let's find them, right?
Yeah,
let's make a difference. And it was just a huge motivation for everyone.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, the thing is that we got people off the road.
Yeah,
you know, and these people were they made the wrong choice, and they need to get off our roads.
Absolutely.
All right, we did it.
You guys voted?
Of course, every day.
Right.
We put it on the Facebook. Anybody who's not voting is not very nice.
Every year we submit a new picture to try to make the calendar for the best looking state police car, and this is what we submitted this year.
This is definitely the best.
It's got a nice shot of the background, and what's really cool is one of our troopers actually took this photo. He used to be a professional photographer before he decided to take the oath, and so he did this as a favor for us to highlight our vehicle and our strip. And Sergeant Broadcheck and him put this together. And so, Trooper Petronas, we really thank you and appreciate your time for doing this for us, because my
It's
iPhone,
fantastic.
my iPhone can only do so much.
Yeah,
so.
no, listen, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It looks great. You know what I'm saying? And so, the best part about it is that it shows off a great thing for the state of Nevada. So, Trooper Woman, so thanks again. I just want to end today with the fact that we know what we talked about, which was really important. All these various things, and again, we stressed about the suicide, and we talked about that, and it got brought up. So I'm glad, and for the Trooper Micah May, I think that was great with Joanna. So I'm glad that that happened and stuff. So
I appreciate you highlighting
thanks
it.
again for coming in, and we'll see you next week. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, see you later. Great, Johnny, huh?
Make sure.